So good day everyone, I am Vijay from IDEC Controls India Private Limited. So today we will be looking into the BACnet protocol which IDEC PLC supports, which to be specific FC6A Plus. So in FC6A Plus we have Ethernet port number 1 which has many functionalities it supports, in which one is BACnet. So BACnet we have a profile called as BAC, which is also abbreviated as Building Automation Specific Controller. So only that protocol is supported in IDEC PLC. So the protocol on which it works is IP. As you know, we have other protocols such as MSTP also, that is Master Slave Token Passing, but in IDEC we have BACnet IP only. It also supports standards of ANSI ASHRI 135.2012, and we have different types of objects according to BASC, that is device object, analog input object, analog output object, analog value, binary input, binary output, and binary value, which we will be looking on the later on stages. It also supports BBMD, which is abbreviated as BACnet IP Broadcast Management Devices, which is used to forward and route the data via broadcast communication to other IP subnet networks. To the max, we can go up to 256 connections, 250 object creations altogether. There are two types of functions to be specific. One is called as subscribed COV, the other is called as unsubscribed COV. That is, COV is abbreviated as change of value. Whenever there is a change of value in binary input or analog input, might be in output also, so it automatically transmits the data from BACnet Explorer to the PLC or PLC to the Explorer, the other way around. So without any delay, let us move into the practicality part of it. So as you can see on the screen, I have FC6A Plus CPU, which I have selected as 16 IO. So if you have any other, you can go with 32 IO as well. Since only Plus support, so I can only choose either of these two. So as you are aware that Ethernet port number 1 is only supported for BACnet. Let us move on to the project window wherein we can find Ethernet port number 1. Just double click on that to open the settings of that. So here we have to set the IP address of the port number 1. So right, in my case I am setting 0.5 because I'm using a router in between which has an IP of 192.168.0.1. so I'll be going with 0.5, and for other communications with my PC I'll be going with 0.6 for Ethernet port number 2. So in port number 1, as I said you, we have BACnet IP. So before that I'll set the gateway as well because I'm using router. So then just slide it a little bit down to find BACnet IP settings. To make it configure, we have to check the checkbox of BACnet IP, click on configure. So here you can find BACnet device, port number and all. So this is what is identified by the Explorer or the BACnet other devices. So my device, I'm naming it as device ID number 1, but you can go with any other number as shown before, 4194304 also, 302 also. Now the port number, I'm keeping it by default. If you would like to change, you can change the port number here as well. So these two are again variable, so you can go with data register if there is any necessity. Then coming to the BACnet communication, to make the BACnet communication on, we have to switch on a special memory bit, that is M8450. So instead of going with ladder logic, I am straight away turning it on. This actually means once the PLC gets on and everything is in normal state, that means without any error, this bit M8450 automatically turns on. Then as I explained you previously, COV, device communication control password, basically for password protections. Suppose some device would like to access the BACnet in it, so we can go with the password protections as well. Then COV is change of value. By default, we have some uh, uh, resolutions with which if there is a change in value in fraction of decimal values, uh, BACnet Explorer or BACnet device in the PLC gets updated automatically. If you'd like to go with certain time slots, let's say that value has to be updated every 1 second, so this is where we can go with, that is called as unsubscribed COV frequency. So right now we'll not be using it, we'll be using a normal COV methodology, but if there is any requirement you can go with unsubscribed COV as well. Now coming to the foreign device settings, well, as I said you, BACnet supports in FC6A Plus, it supports BBMD as well, basically to access the other BACnet devices which are there in other areas over the internet. So when the BACnet IP network is built with the multiple IP subnets, install one BBMD, that is BACnet broadcast management device, on each IP subnet. A BBMD is a device that transfers broadcast communication of BACnet devices to different IP subnets. So here in this case we have to set the IP address of the other network. Let's say our network is 192.168.0.5, the other network is 192.168.1 dot something else. So in that case we have to set 192.168.1 dot that specific IP address over here, and the port number of that BBMD device. So here we can go with the communication settings, how long it should retain if it is not communicating properly, right? And the registration trigger, once you are doing the settings, we have to register the settings as well with the help of this specific device. Then moving on, these on all are the settings of the BACnet. Then moving on to the actual objects for the communication between two devices of BACnet. Here, as I said, we actually support BASC, that is Building Automation Specific Controller. In this, we have device object, analog input object, output object, analog value, and binary input, binary output, and binary value. So these bottom three are binary, the above three are analog, that is the digital value. Sorry for that. Then basically we can create 256 objects altogether. So here BACnet device object is a system defined object, so we cannot transfer anything. It is just to identify the other BACnet device, just for them to identify from where they are getting the data from. So let's say once I create an explorer, once I open an explorer, so you can see the values over there, the what kind of BACnet device that is FC6A Plus, and where is it from, IDEC corporation. Let's say you would like to mention the location, let's say India, maybe description IDEC, okay, IDEC India, something like that. You can write the description. So there are few read and writes over here as well. We cannot write everything. Few boxes over here are only read only, we cannot write the values in that. Then coming to the analog input, so right now we'll create one analog input. That is basically, when we speak about analog input, the devices which are being actuated on the field level device gets into the PLC and transfers back into the BACnet Explorer, right? So that is analog input. So I am making the instance number, that is just to identify what is the analog input. I'm making it as 0. Click OK. Then the same identifier, it has come here, object name has come here. If you'd like to change, you can change that as well, just to identify the name. Not hard and fast that there are no rules such as you have to go with the specific name. Description, you can write this description as such as maybe some temperature sensor, temperature value. So description can be anything. Device type, you can mention this as, this is also general conventional name which we can display here. Let's say device type is Then present value, the value from where it is coming, we have to put it as enable here. Then click here to enter the register from which we need to send the value to the explorer. Let us say I'm going with D20 here. Can go with any value, any register. And here conversion type, it can be a word, it can be integer, it can be double word, or it can be a long integer. So depending upon this the value with which we are getting the analog input, the value that we can mention the data type here. So let us go with the word only. Okay, so the remaining properties are quite, I mean, few are disabled by default, few are not enabled. So if there is any problem in this object, so you can even click on the status flag to identify what is happening inside. So right now I'm putting this it's as simple as possible. Then clicking on the object analog output object. So here I'll go with object number 1 just to identify that this is 0 and this is 1. I'm going with that naming convention, but it is upon the user's requirement. They can go with 0 as well here. So I'm going with 0. So analog output means the value which is coming from the BACnet Explorer to the PLC, and we can give it to the output side. So that is an output. So here again for the preset value I'll go with maybe I have gone with D20, right? I'll go with D22 here. And the type of conversion, I'll put it simple, that is word without any coefficient. Coefficient means if you are getting value of 100 in D22, coefficient is nothing but a multiplication factor. Let's say I would like to display it as 10, so I need to mention it as 0.10. So right now I'm putting it as simple as possible. Okay, then description, if you would like to go, you can go, otherwise you can leave it as it is. And then the analog value. So analog value object is basically read and write. Initially we have seen analog input means one-way communication from PLC to the BACnet Explorer. Analog output means a one-way communication from BACnet Explorer to the PLC. Whereas analog value is a dual communication. That means the values can be transformed from PLC to BACnet Explorer or BACnet Explorer back to the PLC. So it's a two-way communication. Let us create an object. I'll name it as stew. Preset value I'm going with D0. So here you can see for reading the register is D0, for writing the register is D2. Similarly for there is a small principle what we have to apply here. To send the value from PLC to the BACnet Explorer, we have to follow a few rules. So those rules are, I have mentioned the trigger and the priority as 10 and 11 and 10 respectively. So for the priority we have to mention, let's say there is a stack of 15 stacks are there. So in that 15 stacks, let's say I would like to move this value to 10th rack. That has to be done with the help of D10, and writing. The writing of this value into that stack is done with the help of writing device trigger, that is D11. So let us see how it happens. I'm taking the conversion as float here. Okay, since we have previously taken word, so let us see float, how the floating value happens over here. So click OK. Similarly for device binary input object, let us create an object here. 2 3, I'll go with 3. Similarly what we have seen previously, analog input is the values in the terms of integers, whereas binary means it's simple BCD. It's simple binary 0 or 1. So I'll be taking simple bit, that is M0, and here again I'll be taking 4, M2, creating new object for the binary value. Similar what we understood for analog value object, same has to be understood for binary value. It's a two-way communication. So I'll be mentioning M4 and M6. Okay, I need to mention the register here. So since we have already considered D20, D10, I'll consider D30 here, right? So click OK. After doing all the settings, if you would like to see the individual settings, what we have done, the objects and all, just click on the object list to identify the respective values for each, like analog input D20, analog output D22, likewise. So click OK. Okay, so right now I'll be writing this down into my PLC, that is FC6A Plus. So further I need to click on download, click on the user program. Okay, IP address fine, the communication, the IP address which I'm doing with the PLC. Once it is done successful, let us click OK. Let's go and monitor. So once I done monitor, I'll go to custom monitor, just to write down the registers and bits which I have taken. For analog input I have taken D20, analog output D22, analog value I have taken D0 and D2, then D10 for priority trigger, D12, 11 for the write trigger. So here I need to consider this as floating because I have considered the analog value as floating. Similarly here as well. Okay, so this is for the priority and this is for the write trigger. So let us first see the registers, then we can move on to the bits. So the tool which I'm using is yet another BACnet Explorer, Yabe. So I need to click on plus to add the device, that is my FC6A. So I'm using internet, so my endpoint by default it comes as 192.168.0.104. it will not show as 0.5 since I'm using an internet and a router. So my router it's taking as 104. Let us click on add. So once the port number and the IP address what we have set is perfect, then it will come. If not, you can click on option settings, change the IP address to 104 or the respective IP address of the router or the PLC, then the port number of the PLC here. Just once you click that, FC6A Plus will come. Just click on that. We'll get all the objects which we have created in FC6A Plus. If you are not created, let's say binary input, this object will not be displayed over here. So I'll do one thing. I'll click all these analog input, output and value. I'll drag and drop, or you can just right click on this and subscribe, so it will come here just to show the value. This is D20 is analog input in my case. If I'm passing analog input, as I said you, I'm passing value from PLC to the BACnet Explorer. I'll just pass 1 2 3. So analog input has been updated to 1 2 3 in BACnet Explorer. Output I cannot write here because this window is in PLC, so I need to get a value. Even though I write something, it will not update because it's read only. Now for output, double click output. On the right side you can see present value. In that maybe I'll write 456. Okay, so you can see the updated value over here. So since we have considered word, so everything is coming in word. Let us move on to the analog value object. So in analog value object, okay, this I have done some things previously, so I'll change it back. So this is D0 is only for reading purposes, this is D2 is for writing purposes, which we have done in the settings of BACnet analog value. So let us see what is happening. I'll write down 26.5 and priority number 1 in stack. Let's say there are stack of 16, so this will go into the first stack, and to update it I just need to make the trigger, that is D11, as 1. So automatically once it happens, the trigger happens, so it will come back. Once the writing happens, once it comes back to 0, right? So this has gone to stack number 1. Let us go and see. It has been updated here in priority flag. Okay, I think I need to click on analog value. In priority, you can see 26.5 has come to the first priority. As I said to you, there are, let's say we assume this has 16 stacks, or in here it is 15 stacks. So I need to move the value to the second one. In that case, I need to mention D10 as 2, location as 2. I will change the reading here as 27.5 and update. As of now, it has not changed. You can see here it has not changed. Once I do the trigger, it changes the value. It gets updated. So here, as I said to you, there are few backlogs in YABE because it's a free software. So we just need to click on this icon, double click once if there is any refresh happening. So but you can see the current value is 25.6. It is because the value which is there in first slot actually gets updated to the present value. Okay, so if I say I would like to change the first as some 30.5 and update, so you can see here it has updated, but here it is not updated. I'll just need to double click on. Okay, it has been updated. So same way we can write the values from the Explorer back to the PLC, but in this case this Explorer is not able to support this functionality. So what happens, the same principle has to be applied there. That means we have to write something into the present value, give the location from where we have to access or we have to send the value, and the trigger. So these things were not provided here, but in the licensed versions you might find these in the property window. Okay, so let us move on to, I'll delete these all this and I'll move on to the bits. Just drag and drop. I'll delete everything. Okay, so I think I have considered binary input as M0 and binary output as M1. Let us make it as simple as possible. For this to write from PLC to the BACnet Explorer, I can make it as on. Okay, one thing I need to change the type of monitoring, binary. Okay, so I have updated one here, so you can see binary input which is coming from the PLC. Output, I need to mention it as 1. Sorry, double click binary output, present value 1. So okay, I think I have given that bit as M2. That's my mistake. Okay, so you can see it has been updated. For the others, such as binary value, let me just go and check what value I have provided. So we can see here it's M4, M5 for reading and writing, M30 and M31 for priority and the write trigger. Right, so I just need to mention this M4, M5, D30 and D31 over there in the monitoring. So I'll go to custom, create new. So already we have seen M0 and M2, M4, M5, D30 and D31. So okay, this should be binary, this should be binary, and this should be binary. Okay, these two are registers. So already we have updated here 1 and 1. Let us get the binary value. So to get the binary, this is for reading, this is for writing. I'll do one thing, I'll write 1 over here, that is making the first bit on, then first location, and update. So it has been updated. You can come and see here if it is needed. So in the first location, let us again change the value of writing to 0. I'll change the location as 3 and 1 update. So to check, just double click here once again. It has not been updated. Okay, let me just do one thing. 3 1 1. Okay, so wherever you would like to store the value, so we can just change it to 1. To take out the value, again it takes the priority number 1. So from where we have to consider, we have to take the value from. Right, so this is the end of this video. Hope this might be helpful. We'll try and come up with new video sessions. Thank you very much.